Most of you know that I'm an old time martial arts grandmaster. Been in the martial arts for 50 years. And you know that I have supported Bruce Lee's legacy as long as I have been here on this platform, on YouTube especially. And I've received some haters, some trolls that try to discount the things that I've said in Bruce Lee's behavior, um, not his behavior, but in his behalf is what I'm saying. There have been many people who have told me in responses that Bruce Lee was just an actor. Bruce Lee didn't finish all of Wing Chun, and Bruce Lee's earlier videos were subpar. They were not that good. His self-defense books and so forth. I mean, think about it. We're talking about the 60s and 70s. How state of the art should it look? The way in which it was done, presented, it was done based on how things were in the 60s and the 70s. So we stop there. But as far as him being a martial artist, I think the world has spoken very, very loudly that Bruce Lee was the GOAT in the martial arts. Now, with that said, I've said this many times as well. There have been many martial arts masters and exponents of the martial arts throughout our history, throughout my lifetime, and even before me and you, who were as good as Bruce Lee and even better. But who's really counting? The fact still remains that he's the most celebrated martial arts image in American and world history that we know of. So you cannot discount that. He has had a statue erected to him in Hong Kong in his honor. There's a saying, Bruce Lee, hero of China. Yes, he was a hero of China. I'm not going to go into detail with a lot of things that Bruce Lee has accomplished because we should already know that. That should be passé. It should be something that everyone is aware of already. He has a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Bruce Lee has a star there. Not just simply as a actor, a movie actor, but as the greatest martial artist of our time that's noted. Okay, that gained world acclaim. And I do mean world acclaim. It's like Michael Jackson, God rest his soul. He was known as the king of pop throughout the world. If you mention his name throughout the world, everyone knew who you were talking about. Jimi Hendrix is another one. Everyone knew who you was talking about across the world. Jimi Hendrix, who that was. And again, Bruce Lee, known throughout the world. He did not get that honor by himself. He didn't just knock a door down and say, I'm the greatest. No, it didn't work that way. The world declared him the greatest martial artist master. So, with that being said, what makes Bruce Lee different? What made him different? I want to say this to you. It is a very, very difficult journey to be alone. It is a very, very hard task to be independent. And he was that. Not many people can leave a group or an organization or a corporation and become their own mountain, so to speak. Bruce Lee didn't want to be attached to a particular organization and say, well, I'm going to stay under this organization for all of my martial arts career. No, he knew that he was talented. He knew that he had a zeal or a zest towards life. If you just look at his writings, he was way, way above his time. His philosophies, his anecdotes were more than just an average person studying karate or kung fu or some other martial arts. Bruce Lee was beyond his time. He was an old soul in a young body, or a relatively young body. And he had a zeal. And as he pointed out before, he said, honestly, martial arts to me is expressing one's self. And he did just that. And unfortunately, he didn't live a long life. He died at the age of 32. But he went against and defied tradition. He was a traditional martial artist in the beginning, but something was yearning on the inside to be myself. Is what he thought. I want to be who I am. I don't want to be defined by this style or that style. I want to be defined as Bruce Lee, and this is me, and I'm creating who I want me to be. That's exactly it in a nutshell. And that cost him his life, I believe. That's why he lived such a short life, because he was a perfectionist. Not saying that no one else was striving for greatness in the martial arts during the time that he was here, but he was the one who the world took notice of. And he pushed himself. He catapulted to stardom. He did that by himself. He didn't have a group of people under someone's umbrella that he fell, and he followed the tenets of their doctrines or what have you. He didn't do that. He went on a journey. He was on a journey, a self journey, self-exploration. And I'm the same type of person. I want to find out where I am as a human being. I know me better than anyone else. Now, sure, I've gotten some information. I've learned some things from this style and that style and this style and that style. And I basically did what worked for me. That's what he did. And for some reason, and I won't say odd reason, it's just for some reason, a lot of people in the traditional world of martial arts hated him because he was different, because he began to gain attention and notoriety. And it overshadowed them in their own minds. I say in their own minds, because you have to be your own person and believe in what you're doing, and not look across the bridge and say, hey, who that guy think he is? Who does he think he is? He think he's better? And then you start hating on the person for no reason. Why? Because they're gaining more attention than you have, or you think they do have more attention than you're getting, because you were here already, or that your particular system or style is 20, 30, 40 years old, and here comes this young buck all of a sudden, and people are paying attention to him. I've experienced this in the martial arts. I would get standing ovations when I would compete in martial arts tournaments because of my system, because it was different. It was not just simply one style that you saw most people doing all the time. It was not just taekwondo with only taekwondo practitioners because they could relate to that. It was not just Shotokan because everybody was doing Shotokan and everybody could relate to that who were doing Shotokan or some traditional form of karate, Goju-ryu, Wado-ryu, Ishin-ryu, what have you. See, they can identify with one another. But when you see a guy come along who has studied several things, and he's gaining all of this renown, he's gaining all of this attention, all of a sudden you feel threatened. You say, oh, he's not doing it the way we do it. He's not doing it the way it's supposed to be done. I mean, whose measuring stick are you measuring that person by? Hello? Because you're afraid to come out of your box. He was not in a box. He was all over the place because everybody has something to offer. If any one man thinks that what they do is the be-all, end-all, something's wrong with that man, and that man has limited himself or herself. Everybody has some truth somewhere. You just have to pick out what works for you. That's the way it's really supposed to be. So that's what made Bruce Lee who he was. He was his own person, and by many he was hated. And unfortunately, it was those in those traditional schools, those traditional sects, that hated him because of that. But the world, by and large, loved him. And that is why he has the notoriety that he has today, and still considered the greatest martial artist of our time. That was all I had to say. What do you have to say? Have a great day.